Hello, welcome everybody to another Queendom Session. I am Tammy D. Taylor, founder and CEO of the Weight We Carry Women's Initiative, Inc. And Healing in Real Time with the Queendom Session is an initiative that is sponsored by the Weight We Carry. Um, and I just want to let you all know, as a certified Christian counselor and certified life empowerment coach, this session is for empowerment and personal development. It is certainly not a substitute for professional clinical therapy or mental health care. With that being said, I do want to get into what our topic is today. And it's going to be today's session is centered on understanding the difference between growth and evolving. Growth and evolving are two words that are used interchangeably, but they represent two very different stages in your journey. And if you can't understand or don't understand the difference, you can find yourself feeling like you're progressing, but you're still in the same place, which then leads to frustration, right? This session is about helping you recognize where you are and what it will take for you to move forward and move forward intentionally. A lot of people, and in some aspects in my life, I am in the season of growth right now. You're learning, you're becoming more self aware, you're recognizing patterns and habits and behaviors that you didn't see before, and that matters. But this is where it gets real, okay? Growth can sometimes give you an illusion of progress because awareness feels like a movement because of course it's something you never felt before. It's something you're realizing that's new and you're excited. It feels like movement. Um, make understanding can feel like change, but awareness without action will keep you in the same place. You'll just have more clarity, but you're not moving forward if you're not making moves with the growth. Okay. Um, for example, you can see something that's clearly wrong, something that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do, but you don't change it, or things that you allow to happen to you and you don't change it. So the growth part is realizing that this is something I need to change, but you haven't done anything to change it. You can see what needs to change. It's not even you know it needs to change and you don't know how to change it. You know what to do to change it, but you still delay the change. You done prayed about it, you done talked about it, you done journaled about it, but you are still not making different moves. You're not moving differently. And this is where people get stuck. It's not because they don't know better, but they have not made that transition into doing better. There's a saying, when you when you know better, you do better. So just because you know better don't necessarily mean you're going to do better. You have to intentionally make that transition into doing better. I'm gonna break it down. Growth is awareness. Growth is when your eyes finally open up to something. Growth is when you begin to realize certain habits, certain mindsets, emotional patterns, triggers, fears, or areas that you're avoiding. That's when you realize that. Growth is when you start saying, I see it now. I understand now. Or I didn't even realize I was doing that. And it's powerful, but you can't change what you refuse to acknowledge. So you can't change what you refuse to acknowledge. So if you're making that acknowledgement, that is definitely growth. That's a step in the right direction, right? But the evolving part of it is application. Evolving is when you know is when what you know starts to change how you actually live. Okay, so when your awareness becomes a responsibility, evolving says I'm not just going to see it, I am going to address it. I'm not just going to acknowledge it, I'm going to shift it. That is evolving. Evolving shows up in your decisions, in your discipline, consistency, when you set your boundaries, when you change your mindset, and when you change your standards. That's when you've evolved. The growth part is something internal, but evolving becomes visible. People can see it. People see your discipline. They see you making different decisions. They see you set boundaries. They see that you changed your mindset. Growth is realization. Evolving is transformation. I'm gonna say that again for the people in the back. Growth is realization. Evolving is transformation. And we're going to go a little deeper into what that looks like. A couple of examples. Growth is realizing you lack consistency. You lack consistency and you realize it. That's growth. Evolving means you are creating structure now, even when you don't feel motivated. Growth is recognizing if you're a procrastinator. Evolving is starting anyway, even if it's uncomfortable. Growth is understanding that you struggle with discipline. You know this. You know you struggle with discipline. Evolving means you're doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Growth is realizing you shrink yourself in certain rooms where you're around certain people. Evolving is showing up fully because God, you walking in the room like God opened the door for you, which He did. You walking in there like you're supposed to be there, even if your voice shakes. Growth is knowing that you've been operating in fear. Evolving is taking action while the fear is still present. Growth is realizing you have a calling. Evolving is preparing, positioning, and showing up for that calling consistently. This is one that was a big one for me because I knew I had a calling and I took steps. I became a certified Christian counselor. I became a certified life empowerment coach, and I'm sitting here in front of you right now. I have evolved. I took my calling, I made it my responsibility, and I took action. Here's the part we don't always talk about. It's going to be uncomfortable. Evolving will definitely feel uncomfortable at some point because you're asking yourself to operate at a level that requires accountability. Most of the time, when you do this, especially if you're going to about your calling, God, you're being held accountable to God. That's a big one, right? That's why it's so uncomfortable because God does not care when you're ready. God doesn't wait for you to say or ask you, "Hey, you ready for this?" No, He does not. And you know why He doesn't? Because that allows us when we do go into our calling and we do uh, operate in obedience. We know where it came from. So guess who gets the glory? The people around you who saw you before your growth, before your evolution. Who gonna get the glory? Amen. All right. Growth allows you to sit with what you know. Evolving requires you to move based on what you know. Going back to what I'm doing right now. This is an evolution for me. Again, I have a certain calling on my life. But for me to be effective, I knew there were steps that I needed to take. I went back to school. I became a certified life coach. I became a certified Christian counselor. I'm going back to school to get my master's in Christian counseling because I know that's going to make me effective. I'm moving. I am moving based on my calling. I am moving based on my growth. When I realized my calling, that was my growth. The actions I'm taking now is my evolving, my evolution, because I'm accountable to God. God told me to do something. I'm accountable to Him, and trust and believe that is something I'm not disappointing my Lord and Savior. I want you to sit with this for a moment. I don't want you to go quick about it. It's not surface level, but I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to ask yourself, where in my life have I gained awareness, but I have avoided the responsibility? Something you know that you need to do, change, uh, but you have avoided that responsibility. What do I keep saying I need to change, but I have not committed to changing it? What habits are still controlling my outcome? Where am I delaying action because I'm waiting to feel ready? And again, God don't care nothing about you being ready. He really doesn't. When He ready for you, hey. But if He calls you, He's gonna make sure that He gives you the resources to be successful. You have to listen. You have to listen. What version of myself do I keep envisioning, but I'm not becoming? And why are you not becoming? You see the end, but you don't see you're not taking the steps to get there. Think about it. Answer these questions. Answer these questions. These are questions that I can ask myself as well. I don't have it all figured out. That's why we're healing in real time. So I'm going to answer these questions as well. And I'm going to come back next week. I normally only do these maybe once or twice a month. I'm going to come back next week with the answer to these questions. Hopefully, you all will put in the comments some questions, some answers to the questions as well, and we can go over them together. I also have some homework for you. This is a deeper work assignment. This week, we are moving intentionally. We are moving intentionally. We're making intentional steps to go from growth to evolving. I want you to write down one area where you've already grown, and then write down something that you clearly recognize you need to change. And then I want you to ask, what part of this is now my responsibility to change? And then ask this another question. What does the evolved version of you do differently in that situation? That's how you can tell you evolve. If there's a situation and there's one way that you would have normally reacted and you react a totally different way, you know you've evolved. And when you answer these questions, be specific. How do you respond? What do you stop doing? And what do you start doing? Take good notes because this is something you can go back and actually study on. Choose one moment this week to respond differently to something. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be intentional. Journal how it felt. Ask, was it difficult? Did you feel empowered? Did you feel accomplished? Uh, and what did you, if anything, what did you learn about yourself? This is how evolution begins. It begins with consistent and intentional shifts. For example, I knew that I needed to have quiet time with the Lord, but I was always running and busy. And I knew I needed this because the only way that I can get what he needs me to do is I have to have quiet time with the Lord. I have to set an alarm. And the alarm is specifically for meditation. That's an intentional act. I'm intentional with that. So that's what I'm talking about. Be intentional with your and consistent with your actions based off of what you learned about yourself in the growth stage. So I want to tell you, God does not reveal things to you just so you can become aware of them. He reveals them to you so you can be held accountable. You know, when He shows you a pattern, it's not to shame you; it's to position you to do better. When He exposes a habit, it's not to overwhelm you or make you depressed or self-hate. It's an opportunity to change it. There are some people that go through their entire lives with these habits and they don't even realize they're doing it. Growth is what God shows you, but evolving is how you respond to what He shows you. Faith without movement will keep you in cycles. You'll be on a treadmill, just running, 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 tired, sweating, everything. You haven't gotten anywhere. So faith without movement keeps you in cycles, but faith with obedience creates transformation. I'm going to say that again. Faith with obedience creates transformation. I am living proof. Living proof. This is the work. This is the work we do. This is the work we do to make ourselves a better version of who we are. And that's what I'm here for. I am here to help guide you into being a better version of you. I don't want you to be like me. I don't want you to be like him, her. I want you to be the best version of you. And if you want to go deeper into that, if you want to go deeper into your healing, deeper into your discipline, deeper into your confidence, deeper into your personal development, if you want somebody to help you be held accountable, I do offer private sessions. And you can go to www.tammydtaylor.com or you can go to www.theweightwecarry.net. Reach out. Reach out. That is what I'm here for. We're healing in real time. This is the Queendom, and thank you again for another Queendom Sessions. I will see you next time. Take care and God bless. Bye bye.